What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Sweet Potato, and I am back. Yes, I got the same clothes on. That is because I'm recording at my house after work, and I'm trying to get ahead of the videos, right? So I can watch me another one tonight, and I have my brain jumbled with so many movies in my mind. So in this video, we're gonna be continuing the Halloween movie marathon with Skeleton Key. Y'all, I'm sitting in my kitchen. Ignore my, you know, um, cleaning products on top of my refrigerator. I feel like that might be a weird place to keep cleaning products, but I have a 4-year-old, so I can't keep him anywhere low. So that's the highest place that he cannot reach. Okay. So the Skeleton Key came out in 2005, and I watched it last night before I went to bed. Chose to watch it because it's set in New Orleans, and y'all know I am a Louisiana girl. I'm in Baton Rouge, so I like watching anything that's set in Louisiana for the most part. Um so this movie again is a psychological thriller, which I prefer over straight up horror. Um, this one teeters a bit for me because I'm the type of person that I like psychological thrillers, things that mess with your mind, because that's the type of that's how I get scared, like mind games. But it has voodoo involved, and see, I don't play with spirits. And that could be the Louisiana girl in me. That could be the Southern girl in me. I just don't. And so I don't like spiritual movies. But this one wasn't too much like that. So pretty much this movie is starring Kate Hudson. All the other people. Oh, they had Joy Bryant in here. If y'all don't know Joy Bryant, she's the black girl who played 50 Cent baby mama in Get Rich or Die Trying. Um, Everybody else in this movie I do not know. Never seen them before. Never saw them again, child. So pretty much, this movie starts off with Kate Hudson. Her character's name is Caroline. So Caroline is working in she's working at like a nursing home, and it's the type of place that's it's really like hospice. So, hospice is where people go, like, these your final days. Like, we know you're going to die. So, it's more about making you as comfortable as you can be before you die. So, she was working there. She was reading a book to this old black guy. And then he pretty much nodded off like he was going to sleep, but he died. And the nurses were like, we'll take his stuff and box it up and leave it at the front desk. If anybody comes, they can retrieve his things, like somebody from his family or whatever. Well, come to find out, they called his family, but the family didn't want anything to do with him. So they were like, you can dump his stuff out back. So she went out to the dumpster and she saw like 3 other boxes of people who had passed away. And she just felt some type of way about it. And they didn't fully go into her backstory, but it was a situation where her dad died, and she wasn't there because she felt like she had more time with him, so she didn't really get to make peace with his death or whatever. So that's why she's on this path of trying to help help these elderly people in their last moments, right? So on her ride home, she's looking through the paper for another job because she felt like it was way too heartless. So she meets up with her friend Joy Bryant, which what her name was in the movie, child, I don't know, and it's irrelevant because she was barely in the movie. But she told her hey, just I'm thinking of going to work at this place. And she was like, girl, that's way in I think it was Terrebonne Parish or whatever. And she was like, "That's the swamps or whatever." And she was just like, "I mean, that's cool." She was like, "I mean, why you want to go work there or whatever?" And she was like, "Everybody not your dad. Like, you can't save or everybody or whatever." And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna go and work out there." So she goes out there. She meets with the estate lawyer, right? And he's working on the wills and stuff like that. So she's talking to him, and he's like, hiring all the home health nurses, I guess. So it's an old lady named Violet, and it's her husband Ben. Now Ben had a stroke, and so it's left Ben in a wheelchair. He can't walk. He has minimal arm movement, and he can't talk. So she meets Ben. She's talking to him and stuff like that, and you could tell like Ben is under like a lot of distress and a lot of frustration because he can't talk. And Violet is telling the Violet was telling the lawyer like she not gonna work because she not even from the South. She don't have a Southern accent. She not gonna understand my house. She not gonna mail well pretty much. And he was asking the girl where she was asking Caroline where she was from, and Caroline was from, I'm from New Jersey, but I've been living here for however long. And the lady was just like, she'll never work or whatever. And he was like, well, you got to stop acting like this because the last girl, she left. So if you keep acting up, you ain't going to get nobody to do it. Pretty much saying you're not going to get nobody to work there. And Caroline was just like, I'm good, you know. And it's funny, like that conversation, like really stuck out to me because when you get to the end of the movie, it's just funny because it make all the sense in the world why they were having that conversation. So, anyways, Caroline gets a job, so she has to live there. So she's pretty much like 24-hour care for Ben. So, the lady was like, listen, this is his schedule. He has to do this, this, and this. And at these times, he has to take his remedies. So she brews him up whatever this concoction is for him to drink at these certain times in this certain amount and all of this stuff. So, and the lady also gives her a skeleton key. Now, this house is a plantation house. Now, we're in New Orleans, so y'all shouldn't have been surprised. So it's a plantation house, and she was telling Caroline, this skeleton key has, for old houses like this, each door has a lock. But the owners of the house get a skeleton key. So I'm going to give you one so you have access to all the rooms or whatever. So just in case I need you to go grab something for me or grab something for Ben, you'll be able to do it. Now, Violet was also telling her that Ben had his stroke in the attic or whatever. Now, one day, Violet sends her up to the attic to get something. Now, they had this little door, okay? A little secret door, and it was behind, like, a bookshelf or whatever, but, like, not like a full bookshelf. Like, the back was out of the bookshelf, and, like, different stuff was, like, blocking the little door, but the door was shaking like somebody was trying to get out of it, girl. So, she goes to try to use her key, but it don't work. And, she, was just like, okay. So she goes and she asks Violet, what's the door back there? And she was like, well, it's been locked and blocked ever since we lived here or whatever, like moved in. And the last owner sold it to us, and they never told us what was in it. And it just been locked this whole time, and I ain't trying to mess with it. And Caroline was like, oh, okay, like that's interesting. And, time progresses in a movie. So getting on to getting on, Caroline starts suspecting that Violet did something to Ben, and that's why he's the way that he is or whatever. So she breaks into that room in the attic and she see a whole bunch of voodoo shit. Okay, and she goes and asks her friend Joy about it because her friend Joy actually is from New Orleans or whatever. And Joy was like, "Well, you heard of voodoo?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Well, this is different because voodoo is a religion, and it's brought over to Africa, from Africa over to Haiti and to other Caribbean islands, and it's a religion. But hoodoo is a mixture with European that has to do with witchcraft. It have nothing to do with voodoo itself." And she was like, "It's about as far from religion as you can get." So she was just like, "Okay, well, where can I find, you know, somebody who knows about it?" She was like, "Well, my aunt, she does it or whatever, and I could show you where she goes." And it was like this laundromat. And she was like, "It's a laundromat?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's in there." And she was like, "You not gonna come with me?" And Joy was like, "I'm not going up in there." And that's a black person for you, because we ain't going up in there. Okay? We ain't doing it. We not about to play with you, white girl. We not doing it. So anyway, she was just like, "Oh, okay." So anyway, Caroline didn't go in there that day. So then, she was in there with Ben, and they had a whole thing about the mirrors, right? They made it so it was like, if they had all the mirrors off the walls, and the lady told, Violet told Caroline, "If you want like a small mirror to, do whatever it is that you do, that's fine, but we don't have mirrors in the house." So then in the attic, she had found all of the mirrors. So pretty much Caroline confronts Violet about the room. She's like, "Look, I found all the mirrors. I found all of this weird stuff. Like, what is the deal?" So Violet tells her the story of the previous owners. So it was back in like the 1920s. They had this, these white people that owned the plantation. They had this big old party, and they had black servants or whatever, whatever. So toward the end of the party, like, everybody was drunk, but they had got, like, toward the end of the party, but they couldn't find the two kids of the house, a little boy and a girl. So they were like made it into a game, like everybody go search for the kids. But then finally they got up to their room that was in the attic, and then the servants, two of them, a man and a woman, were performing this ritual on the little kids, trying to teach them how to this incantation on how to live forever. So the parents took the servants and hung them, and then burned them at that. And the little kids were like, "Well, we told them, what like to do to teach us how to do it or whatever." Well, anyway, the parents still burned them, because you can't be in 1920s New Orleans on the plantation without somebody getting hung and burned. Okay, so moving on. So she was just like, the kids lived in the house for however long after that, but that stuff that's in there belonged to those servants. So you just don't mess with it. And some stuff you just don't mess with. So that was the deal that Violet gave her. So then she decides that, okay, it's a situation where she don't believe in hoodoo, but it's a psychological thing where if you believe in something, right, then that means that type of thing will work on you. So for example, she feels like Ben believes in voodoo. He feels that somebody put a spell on him, which is why it's working on his body. So she gathers that if she uses a spell to get stuff off of him, that he will believe it, like a freaking placebo, like a sugar pill. Like, you tell somebody this pill gonna make you feel XYZ, you give it to them, it's a sugar pill, but they take it, but in their mind they believe it's gonna make them feel XYZ, and then they feel XYZ. So she goes to the laundromat through the back, and she pretty much goes to the voodoo lady, and she tells her kind of the situation. The voodoo lady gives her some stuff, gives her a spell. So then she goes and performs this on Ben. Ben freaking moves and he talks. Not great, but he talks. Well, Violet, she catch wind of it and she busts in there like, what you doing? What you doing to him? And she put her out. So now she know something is afoot. Y'all my nerve. Anyway, now she knows something is afoot. So Caroline goes and she's talking to the lawyer dude, and she's like, "Listen, I think that Violet did something to Ben, and he messed up, and he trying to escape. I think I'm gonna take him from her." And he was like, "That's that lady husband. Like, how you gonna try to take the lady husband from her? And you don't know what the situation is. Like, the man had a stroke." So then they go and find some other, voodoo stuff, blah, 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 going through the motions, whatever, whatever. So then, in the end, she, goes, she kidnaps Ben. Like, so pretty much she drugs Violet, put some stuff in her sugar for her sweet tea, but then she was like, I'm not gonna add no sugar tonight. So then she was like, I made some special gumbo for you, Caroline. Why you ain't eating your gumbo? And Caroline was like, no, baby, I'm good. So then Violet left the room because the power had went out to go get candles. So she poured some stuff into Violet's drink, knocked Violet out, went got Ben, got him in the car, and was pouring down raining, almost flooding because they on the bayou. And she tried to run her little bug, girl. It was like a little Volkswagen through this Warthine gate that was locked, and it ain't work. So then she went and hid Ben body in the garden shed, and so she went back in to then she ran, and they had like a little boat on the water, so she got it and then rolled herself to civilization. Got a ride to the lawyer's house. Get there, she telling him what she think going on. Then he get a phone call from Violet. Now, while he taking this phone call in the back, he was like, we need to record this conversation. So he take a little recorder and the phone in the back. Then she looking through some of his stuff, and they got some like wills for dummies, estate laws for dummies. Pretty much like he's supposed to be an estate lawyer, but you reading estate laws for dummies, you ain't no lawyer for real. Then she looking through the drawer, got little bones, and got a skeleton key in there in his drawer. Next thing you know, he come out the room, and then she uncovered under one of the books, he had buku pictures of her. He come choke her out. Then she wake up, she tied up in a truck, he talking, and they riding back to the doggone house. Of course, they end on it together. Now, granted, y'all, let me tell y'all, from the beginning of the movie, when I saw the lawyer and I saw the old lady, I said, he end on it with them. That's it. That was easy to discern, okay? So then, they get there, and she was like, Violet was kind of talking crap. And then she was like, oh, it's not Ben that you wanted, it was me. Pretty much, because she had figured out that the whole thing with the spell was to keep yourself, the person to keep themselves young. So she was thinking that Violet was trying to take her youth, which is true. She was. Just not in the way she thought. So she started using some of Violet, little tricks around her, like brick dust. If you put it on your door sills, anybody that's meant to harm can't cross that line. So she started blocking off all the entrances, but she couldn't block off all of them, child. She pushed Violet over a doggone balcony, broke both of the old lady legs or whatever. But she was still able to get to her. So anyway, they both chased her all the way up into the room where they had set up the whole scene for the incantation. She had got the little spell and everything that she needed off of Violet and had made it. And Violet got up there finally, and Caroline was like, I made this, you can't touch me. She was like, you think I gave you that? I gave you that so you can get out of that circle. And so she pretty much told her the whole time, we just needed you to believe in everything. Because that's how it works. It only works if you believe. So she started playing the little record. There was a record involved, child, of an incantation spell. She started playing the little record, going, and then she turned the mirror toward her, and then Caroline started seeing all the little ghosts in the mirror and everything, and then Violet threw the mirror at her, and she was like, I don't believe, I don't believe, I don't believe. Knocked her down. Everybody passed out. When they wake up, the lawyer dude was like, you all right when Caroline got up? But Caroline wasn't Caroline. Caroline was Violet. And Violet, the old lady Violet, that was Caroline. They had to switch bodies. So the whole point was, the incantation spell was to take youth and live forever, but you're just not going to live forever in your body. You're going to live forever in somebody else's body and frame. So the whole plot twist was the lawyer man and the old lady who is now in Caroline's young body. They were the two black servants from back in the 20s. It was them. They had did the little incantation spell on the little white boy and the little girl, and they put their spirits inside the little white kids' bodies. Those kids grew up and got pretty old, and then they had transferred themselves into some other some other people, and then they passed down the house to them. Or they sold the house to them. Then Violet and Ben hadn't got old. Well, it really wasn't Violet and Ben, but that's what we're gonna call them for now, because that's what we know them as. Violet and Ben then had got old, so they went and found this lawyer, and they put Ben in his body. So the person who is Ben who had a stroke, no, that's just what happens whenever they, put their body inside of you, and they start giving you the little concoction so you can't talk and all of that stuff. So what they had been doing this whole time was scouting Caroline to finally get Violet, which was the old black lady from the past, inside of her. And it was funny because at the end, she was like, I told you I wanted the black one this time. And he was like, well, the black ones never stick around. We ain't never going to stick around, baby, because we're not about to do this. We're not doing this. Because they had a black girl before who had left. And they went and talked to her throughout the course of the movie. Baby, we gonna dip at the first sign of trouble. That's it. Okay? That's how we built. Period. So, it was a good plot twist. And then her friend had showed up at the end or whatever. And the lawyer was like, it's sad. They're gonna have to, because the ambulance had came for the two old people. It was like, it's sad. They need more help than what she can give them now or whatever. But, they really liked her for the time that she was here because they left the house to her in the will because, of course, he put that together. I said, oh, okay. That's nice. So, maybe she probably could get her a new black body from her friend Joy. Since that's her friend. Well, her friend, because she don't know her. So, but it was really good. I thought it was a good movie. Y'all can watch this on Amazon Prime. I don't know what I'm about to watch tonight, but I will get that to y'all on Friday. Yes, on Friday, because I'm going to post this one tomorrow, which is Thursday. And then, on Friday, I'm going to post another video. That's it. So, once again, that was the Skeleton Key. Thank you guys for continuing to watch and support the channel. I appreciate it. It's your girl, Sweet Potato. This has been Couch Potato, and I will see you guys in the next video.